Hello, 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 and welcome. Happy Sunday. How's everybody doing today? I'm super excited to be here with you today. As you know, it is the third Sunday of the month because that's the new schedule. The first and Thursday is when we pop on. We go live. In case you're not sure what you're watching and who I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer and mystical medicine expert. I'm the host of Joanne's Healing Within, and I'm super excited to be here with you today to share once again another amazing episode. And I know it's going to be amazing because of the guest who I have today. Now, before I dive into all of that, let me just remind you to go ahead and share, like, and comment on today's show. And if you missed the last episode that took place on August 6th with our amazing guest, which was Deborah Beatty, you know you can go back and watch the entire show on any of the major platforms. And the platforms would be Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, Twitter, right here on Facebook and YouTube. And again, that was with Deborah Beatty. She spoke about living in grayscale world. And it was an amazing show, and I do believe there is a flyer with that information where you can actually reach out to her if you'd like to. That might show up on the screen. And if not, no big deal. There it goes. Right there. Beautiful. So again, remember to share, like, and comment on today's show. I am so excited to be here with you today. I'm always excited to come and share with you whatever's going on and the guests that I do have. But before we dive into all of that, I do want to give a shout out to my partners that do help make this show run as it does run. So we're going to start off with my list, and there is a flyer that has all this information on. Should you want to jot down or screenshot or whatever it is, we have Joel Monkman, who is our shamanic healing practitioner and wellness advocate. CJ Ives Lopez, host of the Author's Porch podcast and magazine. Katie Foss and Amy Martin, both the hosts of Intuition of the Soul. Deborah Beatty, a badass color mystic, and I always like to emphasize on that badass. Then we also have Rich Parsons. He's the founder and chief editor of Your Success magazine. Tammy Moses. She's the founder and chief encouragement officer and the founder of Hoarding Solution. And last but not least, we also have my amazing guest who's going to be on today, James. And I always say his last name wrong. He's got an amazing last name, and he will definitely introduce himself when he's on. He is our native Hawaiian healer. And just in case you missed the title for today, it is about the energetic hygiene for highly empathic beings. Today is a healing demo for him to demonstrate the work that he does do. So hopefully you are here to watch just that. Before we dive into all that, I love to share insight with you regarding what is going on with our planets, and even more importantly, not that the planets aren't important, but even more importantly, today's date, based on numerology, if you write that date down, 8/20/2023, you have the double 20s today, that 2020. What does that mean? Anytime we have numbers that mirror each other, that's a reminder on what's being mirrored to you. And so interesting, to the left of me or to the right of me, wherever it is, you can see that there's a mirror there as well. So the big question is, what is reflecting back at you? What is reflecting back on you? What are you learning about yourself, especially when we talk about today's energy? That chew, the power of the chew is your partnerships, your relationships, your contracts that you have with yourself and all the people involved, of course, your money as well, and your partnerships. That chew is very much associated with Taurus energy. So take a look at your natal chart to see what's in your Taurus energy, where Taurus sits, and what's in your second house energy, because today's energy may very well give you some insight to what is mirroring, reflecting back at you. Remember that everything happens for you, not to you, and everything is every situation is an opportunity for you to learn something about you, no matter how horrific it may seem in the moment. It's always a great time to take a moment to breathe and pause when things do become a little chaotic for you. Every one of us deals with stress in a different way. So the best advice I can give you, the best antidote I can give you for today is to breathe. So if you are in an overwhelming situation, breathe, because if you do anything other than that, you're going to create anxiousness in your energy field, and anxiousness never resolves anything. With that being said, I also want to remind you that the moon is in Libra today, and our South Node is in Libra. So Libra is the energy of balance. So where do you want to have more balance in your life? Where do you have balance in your life? Because we never just want to focus on what we don't have. We always want to focus on what we are grateful for. So those little things that will definitely lead up to some big accomplishments in your day. So where is harmony and balance taking place in your life today, in your contracts? I'd like to leave you with some insight regarding a card reading. What's in store for you? How is this double energy of the 2020 playing a role for you? Remember, when we do add the twos together, you get a 4. So that's about your foundation. That's about your home, your shelter. When we speak of home, it's your shelter, it's your workplace, it's your body. And remember that your body is always talking to you. It's important to pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you, because all your answers do live within. You don't have to go out and inquire what's going on and what's all this is going on for you. If you take some time to go within, you get all your answers. You may not like your answers, but the answers are within. So quiet yourself down, connect with your body, connect with your mind, connect with your spirit. And if need be, connect with your spirit team and your other team mates as well, in reference to those who support you on your journey. And if you don't have a team just yet, this is the perfect time to start looking for a team to support you. With that being said, here's your card for the day. Can't make this shit up. The number 4 is just showing up. It's reminding you to be patient as you undergo whatever it is you're experiencing right now. Remember, we are in a huge earth school, and every one of us are learning something about ourselves. And those who are challenging us are our teachers. So be grateful and be excited about those teachers that do show up to help you better understand who you are. The chakra that's associated with this card is the heart, which makes a lot of sense, because when we think about the challenges that we might be experiencing, you may be experiencing some heaviness in your heart. And so appropriate with today's show in reference to the healing demo. The highest level of healing is forgiveness. So it's an appropriate message for today. Remember that 4, it's very much associated with your foundation. In association with astrology, it's the 4th house, which is associated with Cancer. And remember that Cancer is ruled by the moon's energy. So everything intertwines with one another. If you are not yet familiar with your natal chart, this is a perfect time to get familiarized with it, because all the pieces do come together and you can better navigate through whatever's going on. Key component here is patience. So be patient with yourself and be patient with everybody else, because you do not know. I'm going to say that again. You do not know what anybody else is going through in their life. So just because they might have a big smile on their face, which they're covering up for whatever's going on within and around their world, please be patient with yourself and others. So that is our card for today. I'm super excited again to get this show on its roll. I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and when I get back, I'm going to have my guest and my volunteer here, because again, anytime there's a healing demo, there's a volunteer that shows up to be vulnerable to share what she's going to be sharing today in regards to this healing demo. The Q&A will be taking place 2 weeks from today, so today is really about the healing that's going to take place, and of course, our guest will share with you exactly how everything's going to roll out as it does. So I'm going to take that quick commercial break. I'll be right back.
What do you think is the biggest hurdle that's holding you back from living the life that you wanted to live, the life of your dreams? Aloha everyone, my name is James Koinui. I'm a native Hawaiian healer. My family goes back in Hawaii over 20 generations, and I work with my ancestors to help you answer that question and any other questions you may have. Reach out to me, james@jameskoinui.com, or you can find me www.jameskoinui.com.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. Super excited to be here with you today. If you are just tuning in, remember to share, like, and comment. You will definitely have to come back and watch from the very beginning, but I do like to always share the card of the day, which is about patience, to have patience with yourself and others, because you just never know what is going on in someone else's life. And just because a person's wearing a smile does not necessarily mean everything is all about sunshine and roses. The chakra here is about the heart center, which is all about forgiveness, grief, sadness, and of course, happy, joy, and unconditional love. That four, very much associated with your foundation, which is associated with your home, your shelter, your work, and your body. I'm going to leave you with that. Come back and watch it from the beginning later on. You can watch again on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, of course, right here, and YouTube. And let's not forget Twitter. All that being said, I'm going to bring in my guest for today. I'm going to bring you James, and he's going to introduce himself so he can say his name correctly, because I always screw up people's names. It's just what I do. James, I'm delighted to have you back here today with me. So again, let's start off with the name first. Go there.
Aloha, Joanne, and aloha, everyone. My name is James Kauai Nui. I'm a Native Hawaiian healer, and my family goes back over generations in Hawaii. And it's the work that I do with the people that come and see me and find me.
Yes, yes. And I'm super excited for you to be here today, because the last time you were here, which was 4 weeks ago, we had an amazing show together. You spoke about, and I'm going to screw that word up too, so forgive me. Let's not do that. What did you speak on? The whole, go ahead.
We last time we were on this, I was on the show, Joanne. We spoke about Ho'oponopono, which is a practice of conflict resolution, and some people see it as a practice of forgiveness. So we talked about the elements of what Ho'oponopono is, and how it can impact your life.
Yes, and I thought it was so appropriate with today's card, considering it's about forgiveness. Today, though, we're doing a healing demo. So you're going to get to demonstrate the work that you actually do with your clients, obviously off air with clients, with the audience that are watching today. We'll get a hands-on experience to what will actually go on behind the scenes. And I have an amazing, amazing volunteer that I handpicked for today's episode, because I knew she would be the perfect person to help you shine your light in what you're doing, and then also gain many results in regards to the healing work. Now, this is the first time that I'm going to get to experience what it is that James does. So with the audience and myself, I'm really excited. You want to share a little bit about that healing demo that's going to go on before we bring Gail on? Do you want us to bring Gail on and then talk about the healing demo? I think it might make more sense to bring her in, yes?
I think it would make more sense to just bring her in, because it's, for one thing, I guess if I would preface anything in this way, I would just say, the work can be very deep and very personal. So the fact that she's coming on is that she's okay with us talking about things that may be uncomfortable. And healing is that way. People think that healing is all rainbows.
So what I'm going to do before you go further, let's bring Gail Nicholson on with us, so you don't have to repeat anything of. I'm sure she's watching. There we go. Welcome, Gail. Before we get started, I really want to thank you for being vulnerable today to show up as our volunteer, because again, I have absolutely no idea how James does the work that he does. But when I sat and I asked my guides, my mom, who would be the best volunteer for this, first word I heard was Gail. So thank you so much for being vulnerable. I'm going to hand the mic over to James for him to explain what he's going to be doing. And James, just to be mindful that this segment's about 30 minutes, and I will, of course, cue you in to bring you back in for that next commercial break. But we will not have another commercial break for 30 minutes. So the floor is yours and Gail's.
Perfect.
I will be here hanging out.
Gail, we had a chance to briefly see each other before we got on the air, so I just want to say hello and welcome, and
thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me on again, Joanne, and thank you very much in advance for the healing that's going to happen today.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that when Joanne was introducing me, and I said, "Okay, James, no pressure here."
Not at all.
So when I do the work, and all of the work that I do now is remote, and so I would be doing the same thing that I would be doing with somebody else, except maybe not with everybody else, but I would be doing the work with someone that came to see me. And usually before we start doing the work, we would have a consultation before that, so that we would be able to have an idea of where we would go. And so I'm going to look at this as that phone call, that consultation, and then ask you just a few questions, because it's, in some ways, it's like following breadcrumbs. So listening to where you are, reading the information that's coming from our conversation, and then looking where we go. Before we start, though, I would like to take about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and I just want to ask you to close your eyes for me. And as you close your eyes, this is going to be the easiest part, I think. All I want you to do is take a deep cleansing breath, breathing in that beautiful, fresh air, breathing in that fresh life force energy, and then just letting go, breathing out. And taking another big breath in, and as you exhale, just letting everything else that may have been happening before you showed up in this room, in this space, in this time, out. And then all I want you to do for the next few seconds is to focus on your breath. And when I say focus on your breath, it's in a very particular way. I want you to be able to see your breath as it goes into your body. So feeling the breath as it moves through your nose, feeling it as it moves through the back of your throat, feeling the air as it expands and contracts inside of your body. And as you do that, to find a comfortable rhythm that feels good for you. So it doesn't have to be deep breathing or long or anything else like that. It's just what feels comfortable. And as you follow your breath in and out, give yourself permission to relax and unwind. If anything pops in as you're focusing on your breath, to just notice that it's coming in, not judge it, and decide to step back into your breath again. Feeling the breath move down into your body, feel your body start to unwind. You may start to feel the places where there may be tension between your shoulder blades, tension in your body, how the energy is flowing through you. And then I'm going to stop talking for about 20 seconds, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to call on the team. How do you feel, Gail?
Very relaxed.
Good. What do you notice as you're relaxing and following your breath and everything else that we've done in the last few minutes?
Mostly noticing my breath and the inside of my nasal passages drying out from the air going through them. Feeling the circular pattern of the air coming in my nose and through my lungs and out my mouth. I notice a green light behind my eyes that's rotating and moving around, and that's now shifted into purple, which is usually the color I get when I'm going to deep meditation by myself.
How's your body feel?
Relaxed, heavy, like a slumping sack of potatoes in my seat.
So I have a couple of questions for you that I you feel nervous today? There's just a nervous energy. You can open your eyes. By the way, I'm sorry. Do you feel nervous today, or are you nervous about something?
Not
Just
particularly.
the only reason I ask because your solar plexus feels I want to say twisty. If that makes sense.
Twisty.
Twisty, jumbled, like not quite sick to your stomach, but just
No, but I am wearing a belt I don't usually wear around that area. So it is a bit confined.
there you go. Okay. And then I noticed tension, but the tension that I felt was like here in your upper chest. You can tell me
Yes.
what that's
Actually,
about.
towards the back of it. Yes.
Well, and I felt it between your shoulder blades as well. So that's why when we were talking, I said something about that. What is that?
That is that I slept in an air conditioned room last night and the covers didn't go all the way up. So my traps got tense all night
Okay.
because they were cold.
There was a question that popped up as we were quiet, and it's around your voice because it felt like there was an energy in your throat chakra. And what I wanted to ask is, who took your voice away?
In this particular 24 hours, last night I was at a Manilow concert in the nosebleed seats and I blew out my vocal cords screaming.
But that makes sense. The reason why there's energy there, and there's something else sitting inside there because and what it feels like is a place where you weren't allowed to speak.
Well,
What you were thinking. Go ahead.
there's definitely the adage that was one that was used often in my home, specifically by my godmother for the most part, that children should be seen and not heard. And that was a generational thing for me growing up. There was also a lot of secrets in my young life. So there were definitely things that you could not say, in general to anyone, or you had to keep secret from others. And then telling the truth about what was happening, why there was a secret, was also part of the training, if you will. Okay. And yes, most of what I do in working is motivational speaking, talking, sales, podcasting, using my voice most of the time to show off someone else's skills and talents.
And that would make perfect sense and why that would work. There's a couple of things that I noticed as you were talking is that as you started talking and you started talking about your childhood, it's almost like what it felt like is your chest caving in. It's almost like I could feel you going like this and starting to hide. And I just wanted to point that out because when we start looking at these pieces in our life, what we don't usually recognize is how our bodies are reacting. And so noticing that you're talking about this and you're in this point in your life, and yet even the recalling of that, there's this automatic reaction that's happening inside. And so it's just watching how that happened and then bringing us an awareness to it and looking at that and going, whoa, wait a minute. I might not be able to work in this moment on the things that may have happened to me when I was a child, but I can notice what's happening in my body and address that. And so in this moment, noticing how that contraction feels, that's the easiest way for me to explain it. And and recognizing it in a way that goes, okay, wait a minute, my body is contracted. I can feel this nervous energy, because that's what it feels like, this nervous energy, just kind of like this vibrating, and going, okay, let me work on that nervous energy. So I'm just going to take a breath, just like we did in the beginning. And I'm going to let my body know that it's safe. My body is safe in this moment. I know that there's a memory that's sitting there of what happened when I was growing up. Yet in this moment, I know that I'm sitting in a chair in this room. I'm safe. I'm talking we're talking to each other. And allow that energy to reset your body. In some ways, that little girl is, I don't say she's looking for help, but she's looking for it because it feels like you were telling people things that they didn't want to hear, if that makes sense. You were pointing out things that were happening around you, and you were noticing the contrast between what they were saying to you and what you were hearing or what you were seeing inside of yourself.
And even into adulthood, when I'm working with people or just in relationship with people, I end up telling them things about themselves that they don't want to hear.
Yeah. And so we learn to not say anything at all eventually. And so when I was talking about your throat chakra, that's that place. Sometimes when I'm doing this, what it feels like is I'm holding on to words still. And that's in some ways the restriction that's there, as though there are words that I really wanted to say, things that I felt, and I couldn't, and so I for lack of a better way of saying, I bottled it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this moment, again, there's this resolution that's happening, or this understanding that little girl didn't feel safe. I know that in the world that I live in, I feel safe. Can I help resolve how that little girl feels by letting her know she's okay?
Okay.
So notice what's happening because your heart, there's something happening in your heart chakra because your heart chakra just shifted. What was that? Tell me about that.
Kind of an anxiety of, is that possible? Is it, just the past and accept it as the past? Or is there actually something quantum that I could go back and actually make her feel a way that she didn't feel then?
There is actually a way.
Is that possible? And a little bit of an anxiety guard of just don't even go there. You've gone there so many times.
And I totally understand. So if you are looking at the energy that's inside of you, right? Mm-hmm. How old would you say she is?
Oh, about 8, 9.
I wrote 6 to 8 before I asked you the question. So yeah. eight sounds about right? Yeah. So can you see her at 8 years old? Mm-hmm. And even me just talking about that, notice how the energy in your body just kind of shifted again, right? Mm-hmm. Feel the anxiety, the tightness. And there's no right or wrong to this, and there's anything that you're doing wrong. All we're doing is being aware of the feeling, right?
Right. But I have to share with you that when you asked me if I could see her, the image in my mind flashed to when I cut my bangs off and I had bangs stubble like this. And I'm like, oh, God. So there's definitely a shift happening. I'm not sure it was what you thought.
But that's a beautiful thing, because you're looking at that and there's a piece of you inside of everything that was happening that you have found an opportunity to smile and laugh, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. So there's a shift inside of the energy, right? Mm-hmm. Now picture her in your mind. Picture her in your mind and see her face. The way that I see it is almost as if instead of looking down at her, like you're down on your hands and your knees, or you're down on your knees, and so that you guys are about face to face. And there's a wariness because she's kind of looking at this you, the you that's in front of me, and going, okay, why? What are you doing here, and why are you staring at me?
Mhm.
And then at the same time, there's this other part of you, the you that's here, just opening your heart and saying, I'm here. I'm here. And I'm not going to let anybody hurt you. And being able to, as much as you can, draw her into you, see her, feel her, as you pull her close. And it's almost interesting because you're pulling her close, and I can feel the hands that are kind of pushing you away. And that makes sense because in her young life, she didn't have this place where she felt like she could trust anybody. And so to try and to trust you, even though there's this awareness that it is the same you, another version, right? There's still that distrust. And we meet that with an open heart and say, I totally understand that you don't feel comfortable or safe. But I want to let you know that I'm not going to let anybody hurt you anymore. Nobody can hurt you anymore. And when I see this, and when I work with my little guy, I actually take him and I put him behind me, and I said, "You stand behind me now, because I'm going to follow. I'm going to take us through the world. I have the maturity. I have the understanding of how the world works, and you are just trying to do your best in this moment." And as that, there's a softening that feels like it's happening. There's emotion there. Feel the emotion?
Yeah.
Good. Give yourself permission to feel that. And it's a beautiful thing. It's like this merging. Like I feel this merging, the merging of that little girl, that part of you, and the you that's here, and say, see how strong I am. See how I can help move us through the world. You get to be the little girl that you need to be, and let me take care of you. Take a deep breath, because it feels like you want to take a deep breath and like feel the gentleness of that.
Yeah.
And then there's this interesting thing, because it's almost like I can feel this woman hovering over you. And you talked about your godmother, but before we started, I actually wrote your mom, and I don't know, is this place of, was she just protecting you from the world, or wanting to control everything that happened?
Say that last part again.
I said, was it her trying to protect you from the world, or trying to protect you from the world, or preventing you from doing the things that you wanted to do?
I don't think either in my mother's case.
Okay.
Her purpose was to prepare me for the world.
Okay.
She used to say often that my job is to make sure that you can survive without me when I'm gone.
So it's saying female, because there's like this hovering female, and I don't know if that's your godmother or whoever.
No, I have certain guides. There's Marinia, there's my great grandmother, and so on.
Okay, that makes sense, because it felt maternal.
Yeah.
And okay. Yeah, your team's pretty amazing.
The committee. You've met my committee.
Well, let's see if we can change that, just that concept just a little bit, because to me the committee are the voices in my head. This is just me. I'm going to give you my how I see it. Because the voices in my head, and the team is the team that's behind me. So the team is with me. They're kind of like the board of directors, and I'm like chairman of the board. And then the team, I mean the committee, is like all those naysay voices that are in my head. And so that's how I kind of separate the two, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess I say committee because coven is looked down upon.
That makes sense. Yeah. And again, we all have our own way of seeing it. So there's no right or wrong inside of that. Tell me how your body feels. Tell me what the energy feels like inside.
I just wanted to sit up straighter more, get a little bit more settled in a little more squared off foundational way. Different.
And yeah, it's an interesting thing because when we do that, it's almost like there's a layer of confidence, right? Like you're sitting up straight,
relaxed out,
and
a little release of energetic air.
And that's released, and when we sit up straight, our shoulders go back, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this unconscious energy that says, "Here I am. Mm-hmm. Look at me. I'm ready to take on the world." And excuse my language, don't fuck with me because I'm weird.
No offense taken. Joanne knows.
But you feel the difference. And it's interesting because you feel the difference energetically, physically. And so the shift inside, even though it's subtle and even though we're talking about things that may have been in the past, your body is reacting. Your body's saying, yeah, here I am. And what it feels like as well is that energy is running through your spine much clearer now.
Yeah.
Because I actually feel energy sitting in your sacrum now. When we first started, I didn't feel that.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in here just for a moment because we are about to take a commercial break. But before we do that, James, if you can let our audience know how they can reach you, I would love that.
Yeah, anyone that wants to have a conversation with me, and I will tell you, you can reach out to me at james@jameskoinui.com, or you can go to my website, jameskoinui.com, and there's a contact sheet in there that you can reach out. And you're right, I will talk to anybody for 30 minutes.
Yes, all your information was just posted. And Gail, even though there's no flyer for you, but let our audience know how they can reach you as well, because I'm sure there's people out there kind of curious to know how you were feeling throughout all of this behind the scenes that you might want to talk to them personally.
Awesome. Well, my name is Gail Nicholson, spelled GaylNichholson. And you can put .com on the end of that and find how to contact me through that website. Also, you can tune in and listen to me on Tuesdays at noon with my cohorts, Damaris Samolinsky and Krista Ducharme, when we do our weekly podcast, Three Crones and the Woo Woo, on YouTube.
Awesome. And like I said, folks, we do need to take a commercial break. We will be back, and when we come back for the next segment, there's going to be a conclusion of this healing demo. And then remember to set your calendar for September 17th, because both James and Gail will be back for the Q&A part. And I don't know about you guys, but that's the part I'm interested in, because I'm sure there's lots of questions and answers that's going to come through with the remaining portion of the show. We're going to take that quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Joe Monkman, and I am a personal development trainer. And that means that I help people step into their leadership roles, take their place as a visionary, really understand their own mastery in the world so that they can really find their place at the buffet of life. And if you want to know more, you can find me on my Facebook page at Joe Monkman and joemonkman@gmail.com.
Are you ready for solutions and connections? If so, I can help. Hi, I'm Tammy Moses, and I help the peripheral people resolve hoarding issues in a holistic way. I would love to connect with you and learn more about how I can help in your unique situation. Please send me an email to thehoardingsolution@gmail.com. I look forward to connecting with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kitty Foss.
And I'm Amy J.
And we're Intuition of the Soul. We are a Facebook and YouTube group that has created a sacred spiritual place to look at your spiritual practices.
And there's too much to tell you about what we do, but let me tell you, we have weekly activities, we have monthly activities, and you are not going to want to miss our spiritual practitioner series. So join us on Intuition of the Soul.
Aloha.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest and volunteer, both James and Gail Nicholson here. We are performing, I shouldn't say we, James is administering a healing demo with our amazing volunteer, Gail Nicholson, and we are in the last segment of this, the last 10 minutes, where James is going to ask whatever he needs to ask to continue this healing, to conclude it for today. And again, as I mentioned prior to this commercial break, if you have not watched this from the beginning, you could definitely come back and watch on any of the major platforms, just to name one or two, Roku and Amazon Fire TV. So you can actually watch this from the very beginning. And they will be back on September 17th. So please circle that on your calendar so you can come back and learn about the Q&A that's going to take place on that day. I always like the Q&A part. So James, I'm going to hand the mic over to you again so you can continue what you were chatting about prior to the commercial break and conclude the healing demo for today.
Thanks, Joanne. Gail, what I just want to focus on in the last few minutes here is about how the energy is running through your body, what you're feeling right now, and I want to be able to see if we can get the energy moving a little bit more through. So if you took maybe 2 or 3 nice long breaths and tell me where it feels like you're settling in your body right now.
Still sluggish in here, and between the solar and sacral, it's muddy. And then the root really doesn't seem to be activated much.
Okay. So with your breath, let's do this. As you breathe in and you're watching the energy come in through your breath, be able to bring it so that it sits at a point that's below your sternum and right above your belly button. So what we're doing is we're consciously pulling the energy down into our bodies. Being comfortable with that energy actually dropping just a little bit lower so that as you breathe in, you're consistently landing at a spot that's right behind your belly button. And it's an interesting thing because as I'm feeling it, it feels like you're jumping from this place that's right in your sternum down and then back up again and down again, which is okay. Because what we're asking your body to do may be something that it's not used to doing or maybe comfortable. So it's noticing that the deeper I can bring and breathe my energy down into my body, and if I can start by having it settle right behind my belly button, what you'll notice is that you'll feel more grounded. Yeah, so because the energy now in your upper chest is starting to change as you pull down. And it feels like your sacrum is firing. So I can feel like energy sitting in your sacrum now. And so with the energy that's sitting in your sacrum, it feels like it's on your backside. And it's almost as if what you want to do is move it to the front side of your sacrum. And if you notice, that brings the energy now down below your navel. And it feels about where your womb is in some ways. So what we're doing is you're dropping your energy from your third to your second chakra now. And slowly letting your body know that sitting in this space, allowing the energy to drop into that space is safe and it's okay. Because a lot of times the body's not used to the energy sitting there. And what that's doing is winding your diaphragm. So the diaphragm's opening, which is allowing that energy to drop low. And you're in that space now below your belly button. And what it's starting to feel is warmer to me. And I know we don't have a lot of time left. And so to leave you with this, I would say to practice this as part of your meditation routine in the morning is to be able to take your breath and slowly, wherever it is, slowly pull it down so that it can sit inside of that place that's about maybe 2 or 3 inches below your navel. And notice how different the energy flows through your body. How's that feel?
Very nice. Relaxed. More freed up in that area for sure.
Less muddy. You used the word muddy before.
Yep. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And it's very interesting as you were describing as I was breathing, you could tell the difference between when I was bringing it into my lungs and then forcing it down to where it finally like opened up a little bit more and I could bring it in and have it land behind my belly button as opposed to bringing it into my lungs and forcing it down to my belly button.
Forcing it down. Yeah. It was just watching how your body was reacting. And that's kind of the way that I've been able to see what's happening inside of someone's body and guide them very slowly.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah. And you're going to be tired. And yawning is good because yawning is really shifting the energy. So yawning is always a good thing to do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Gail.
And thank you, Gail, for being vulnerable today and sharing the insight you shared and just being open to this. And I knew my guides were so on track. Yes. James, if you can just share with the audience what they can expect, if you even know, regarding the Q&A that's going to take place on September 17th, what the audience can look forward to.
Well, whoever watches today is going to have some questions about how or why, and we could talk about some of what we have a discussion about is about the way that you use empathic energy. Most people are afraid of it, and most people don't want to move to the world because they're always feeling everybody else, and yet there's a way of using that energy so that it can benefit you because it brings more awareness. And what we want to do as much as possible is be more in alignment with how we're feeling inside our physical body. So we can focus on that.
Excellent, excellent. And is there anything that Gail will need to do between now and the time she meets with you on the 17th? Maybe take notes or any of that?
I would say just play with some of what we did today and some of the things that we went over and just see how, as you come back to them over and over again, as you start to see maybe might be subtle things happening or changing in your life, and there might be big things changing in your life, but it's just to kind of not make the connection, but be aware of how you're feeling and what's showing up.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I do want to put it out there to the audience. I know that we have Ann watching with us live and also Kitty watching live. And if there's anyone else who's watching that's just not seeing your name, I'd like to thank you for being here. And if you have experienced anything as well, because again, when James was guiding Gail to do what she was doing, I know for myself, I was definitely experiencing some things taking place. So if in the audience you were too, please reach out to James, share with him what you experienced, and if need be, reach out to him for that 30-minute consult that he is offering, so you too can clear whatever it is that's going on. Because the most important concept of today's episode is for everyone to understand that not only is the person here, Gail, as the volunteer receiving the healing, but everyone who's watching is receiving healing too. And I do not want you to go off thinking like, so what do I do with this after this? Reach out to James so he can give you those steps of whatever it is that needs to be done for you. So again, with that being said, James, let them know how they can reach you.
Sure. People, you can reach out to me through email at james@jamescoinnewey.com, or you can just go to jamescoinnewey.com and find the information that you need there. And there'll be a contact sheet that you can fill out, and I will reach out to you and we'll schedule time.
Yes. And please take advantage of his 30-minute complimentary session that he's offering, especially for those who are watching, who's actually experienced the healing, and those who are watching on the replay as well, because whether you're watching live or the replay, you experience the healing, you want to continue the work. And Gail, let everyone know how they can reach you as well, because I'm sure they're curious to know the vulnerability of being here today, and they may have a lot of questions for you too.
Well, once again, my name is spelled Gail Nicholson, GaylNicholson. Put a .com on the end, and you can find out all the ways to reach me through that website. And you can always tune into my show on YouTube, Three Crones in the Woo Woo, with myself, Damaris Samolinsky, and Krista Ducharme, every Tuesday at noon on YouTube.
Excellent. So both James and Gail, it was a pleasure having you both here. I was excited for this healing because I knew it was going to be powerful. After all, it's a Native Hawaiian healing session, so I was excited. And James, I'd like to just thank you for your work that you do for the entire world, and Gail for being so vulnerable that you were. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and again, like I mentioned, the two of them will be back here on September 17th for Q&A, so circle that on your calendar so you remember to be here and see what shows up at that point. We'll take that commercial break, and I'll be back for the conclusion of today's show.
Hi, I'm CJ. The Author's Porch is a community where you find good books and good people. We collaborate with services that deliver quality to authors and publish a magazine for authors by authors. Come by, let us feature you or review your book. Coffee is always on, and no matter what time you arrive or where you come from, the porch light is always on.
Hey, my name is Rich Parsons, founder and chief editor of Your Success Magazine. At Your Success Magazine, we help entrepreneurs and business professionals increase their credibility, establish expert status, and expand their network. Your Success Magazine is a monthly publication shared with our group of subscribers, as well as on LinkedIn and Facebook, with plans to expand to other social media platforms in the coming months. We offer multiple opportunities to get involved as a contributor for Your Success Magazine. So I invite you to learn more about our magazine, and you can do so by emailing info@yoursuccess.biz. Thank you.
Hey, this is Joe Monkman, and I am a personal development trainer. And that means that I help people step into their leadership roles, take their place as a visionary, really understand their own mastery in the world so that they can really find their place at the buffet of life. And if you want to know more, you can find me on my Facebook page at Joe Monkman and joemonkman@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. If you are just tuning in at this very moment, know that you missed an amazing show, but you didn't really miss it because you can always go back and watch on the many platforms, just to name a few: Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, Twitter as well, and of course right here on Facebook and YouTube. You missed an amazing episode, and mark on your calendar, circle your calendar September 17th, because both James and Gail will be back on for the Q&A episode portion of this. I know I'm curious if there's any questions or what answers show up. And before that date, we also will be back on the first Sunday of September, which is September 4th. And mystery guests, I always leave it as a mystery guest just to keep you at the edge of your chair. But with all that being said, as usual, our partners, my partners, have some amazing offers for each and every one of you. Starting off with, as James mentioned, he has a 30-minute complimentary session that he's offering to each and every one of you as a native Hawaiian healer. There are flyers for each and every one of these promos. So feel free to reach out to James, especially if you watched the show. If you're watching now, watching on the replay, take advantage of that 30-minute session. Then we have Spirit Messages and Energy Insight. It is returning back on August 29th. Took a break for a little while, but it's coming back, and you definitely want to participate there. Badass Color Mystic always has something in store for you, including the amazing new magazine she has up and running. So if you want to learn more about that and how you can contribute to her magazine, please reach out. Information is right there. Your Success Magazine as well, another amazing magazine, which Rich is also looking for contributors. So if you'd like to get out there and share your wisdom, reach out to Rich Parsons for insight. Intuition of the Soul. They always have amazing things going on, some amazing offerings, free, and also some small investments as well. So reach out to them. Then we have the Author's Porch magazine and podcast. Their next magazine is scheduled to come out October. You want to get your issue, your article, your book published in there, go ahead and get that out to them by September 1st. And then last but not least, my amazing Chakra Balance Reiki Circle coming on site. It's a live event. So if you do live in the 5 boroughs, if you want to travel out, if you live in Queens, look me up. Reserve your spot today. I'm super excited for our first event to be live on site. Looking forward to connecting with each and every one of you who do decide to reserve your seat. All that being said, like I said, looking forward to being back here on September 4th, sharing some more wisdom with each and every one of you. Make sure if you just tuned in to go ahead, like and comment on today's show, share it out, and circle September 17th so you can learn all about the Q&A based on today's healing demonstration. All that being said, I'm going to end the show with a big bye-bye until 2 weeks from today, September 4th. Bye-bye for now.